How about that cigar?
What? Oh, how about that cigar?
Good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, our favorite night of the week. Welcome to How About That Cigar Live, episode number 77. Insanes, episode number 77. Welcome to October. It is already October. I can't believe it. As always, guys, we are coming to you live from the Drew Estate Cigar Studios, and we're going to tell you about the Drew Estate Bronxzilla. In 2019, Drew Estate celebrated an important milestone with the global introduction of the Acid 20th anniversary. And now the Acid 20 Bronxzilla, an Ecuadorian Connecticut shade offering that will be available exclusively through Alliance Cigar Company. Wrapped in a creamy smooth Connecticut shade cover leaf over Indonesian binder and rich Nicaraguan filler, Bronxzilla is packed with bold flavor and aroma. Each 5x54 Robusto is blinged out in foil and packed in a 20-count box emblazoned with the Acid 20 logo. For more info, please visit drewestate.com and alliancecigars.com. So, Garrett, as always, Minnesota Twins.
Nailed it.
So, we love our team. We love our team. We love our team. But
Broke last year's record.
Broke last year's records. And so, yeah, we already possessed the record for the most consecutive playoff losses by any team in the history of professional sports, not just baseball. Any team,
professional sport.
Yeah. So now we're up to 18.
18.
Yeah. Lucky.
Woo!
Yeah. So, and it made it hurt even worse that it was the Astros.
Oh my gosh.
And again, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of how I feel about the Astros, but you can tell from my tone of voice that I feel a certain kind of way about it. But that's all I'm going to say about that.
I think you're on the fence.
So, as for NFL football, my team, beloved Green Bay Packers, are 4-0. But your team has a bright spot.
Kind of. I mean, they won their first game.
They won a game.
Yeah, 1-3.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Hey,
against another 0-3 team.
Against another 0-3 team.
Like
so.
I'm pretty sure the viewership for that game was like 2 0-3 teams. Like, oh gosh.
And it's funny too because those are like, you remember in years past when they'd have, usually it was the Thursday night games that they'd put the worst games on Thursday nights when it was, back when it was like
Tampa Bay,
Cleveland and Tampa
Cleveland,
Bay or something like that.
Yeah.
When both those teams, well, Cleveland's
they're doing all right.
They're doing okay this
year.
They
are,
but it's Cleveland, so just for those of you who are Cleveland fans, love you, but it's Cleveland,
right?
So, what are you going to do? So this week, again, guys, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, take just a minute, share us out to your favorite Facebook cigar groups. Thank you so much for watching.
Yes.
As always, participate with us. Tell us what you're smoking and drinking in the comments tonight. If you have questions for us when we bring our special guest on, please post those questions in the comments, and any of those that we're able to, we'll put up on screen. So let's go ahead without further ado. Let's get into our special guest segment. And as always, our special guest segment is brought to you by Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com. They are the internet's largest and easiest to use virtual cigar store. Corona Cigar Company offers you the finest handmade cigars, humidors, and cigar accessories at the absolute lowest possible price. You'll also find unique and limited cigars containing Florida sun-grown tobacco. As a proud American, president and founder of Corona Cigar Company, Mr. Jeff Borshowitz believed it was possible to bring cigar tobacco farming back to Florida. At Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, you'll find the best selection anywhere in the world of cigars containing this special Florida sun-grown tobacco. If you live in Florida or are just visiting, be sure to visit any of the great Corona Cigar locations in downtown Orlando, Sand Lake, Lake Mary, and also the Davidoff of Geneva Lounge in Tampa. For more info on all of that, please visit coronacigar.com and floridasungrown.com. And ladies and gentlemen, if you would, without further ado, put your hands together for our special guest this evening from Debonair House and Indian Motorcycle Cigars. Please welcome to the show, Phil Zanghi. How's it going, Phil?
Excellent. Good evening. It feels like I'm getting in the ring.
Brother, it's an honor to have you on the show, man. It's been a long time coming. We had some scheduling conflicts a while back. We were going to have you on, but we're glad to finally have you on the show and talk to you about it's you're one of those guys in the cigar business, man, that and we'll talk about this a little bit more in depth later. But you know, you're one of those positive attitude people that just you know, when things just are going kind of blah, like they have been in 2020, maybe a little bit, you know, talking to a guy with an attitude like yours kind of gets us back on our feet and gets us ready to go again and face the world. So welcome to How About That Cigar Live.
Hey, thank you guys so much. It's an honor. I'm always humbled that anybody who wants to talk to me anymore. You know, after doing this so long, you know, you meet so many people, and it just always seems fresh. That it's just humbling. And I just thank you guys for even thinking about me, putting me on here. You know, and it's just I just enjoy people. That's what one of my biggest things is. I just love people. I love everybody. You know,
Absolutely.
And I mean, it's positivity mixed with reality, mixed with the empathy. You know, there's all that stuff going on, and right now in this world, it's just tense. You know, I see it in every avenue. Even I live in the Dominican Republic, and I've been here now 15 years, and I was, you know, off and on, but lived like 6 years in Honduras, in Nicaragua, but was down there for 10 years, you know, back and forth. So, just been through a lot of crazy stuff. But this day and age, what we're seeing now. But what also I see is there's a lot more communication going on. And because I've been in people's homes via Zoom or this kind of medium, you know, and what I've never seen this guy spot, you know. And I think it's all positive in that way because people are coming together. Because before everyone wanted to have their own space, right?
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Now everybody says, I want to be able to get together again.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's almost a positive coming out of a negative.
So, so you're coming to us from your home in the DR, and tell us what you have fired up, what you're smoking and drinking along with us this evening.
I'm not drinking anything right now, but I'm smoking a Debonair Habano Robusto, and these are the ones that they export. You know, that I just don't put the bands on there. It's my headset. You know what I mean? And then I was puffing on this other thing we were talking about earlier, the Echo Premium. I got that here.
So yeah, Garrett and I are firing up this special project that we're going to talk about in a little bit. I will tell you that just the first two puffs, I like it a lot. I'll say that much.
Me gusta.
It's a shade too. Ecuadorian shade. I left that thing sitting, man, for all that time we talked, and it's still lit.
Yeah, still going. So, Phil, you know, one of the things we like to talk to our guests about, and we like to give our viewers and listeners a chance to get to know you. You know, you were really from the times that you and I have talked and other interviews that I've seen with you on some other cigar shows. You really do, you know, have one of those stories where when you were born, you were already really surrounded by cigars and premium tobacco. So give us a little bit of an idea of you know, your cigar origin story and kind of, you know, what it was like being born into premium tobacco and always having it around, and how that led into when you started first enjoying premium cigars for yourself, and what that was like for you.
My grandfather, my father, all my uncles. I mean, there's a picture somewhere with me in my bassinet at my christening and all us Italians around smoking, you know. My father was a member of the World Humidor Society of Dunhill. My grandpa was. My dad was a bookmaker, so he frequented every cigar shop you could think of. It was just part of my fabric of my youth, my life. Cigars have always been around, you know. It's like my dad used to always say that, you know, a guy that has smoked cigar has money to burn, you know, and it always equated to me a guy that's successful because he's done so well in life. He can actually sit down and smoke a giant cigar, and he doesn't care about time at that point.
Yeah.
Because he's got somebody else helping him, or he's done it already, or he's just got something involved in his life where he's got time. And that's the thing that none of us can buy. You can't save it. You can't put it in the bank. There's no stores that sell it. Time is the most expensive and valuable thing in the world, you know. And if somebody can actually take one of my products or anyone's product, cigar in general, but to take my product and use their precious time to enjoy something I made, that flatters me beyond the recognition. You know?
Yeah. Can you remember the that first time for you? Because we all have that first time. Whether we grew up around tobacco or not, we all have that first time when we sat down and cut and lit and started to enjoy our first premium cigar. And for some, that first cigar was a great experience, and for others, maybe not quite so much. So, what was that first premium cigar experience like for you?
It was, I mean, I probably was 12, 13, and my dad had humidors all over the house. You know, they were just part of the furniture, and they were all beautiful stuff. You know, he did have style. You know?
Yeah.
And it was a Dunhill, maybe a Corona, nothing crazy. And I watched people smoke, and I haven't been around, so I know you didn't inhale it and all that stuff. And I mean, did I enjoy it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, did I understand what I was really doing? As in the pleasure I get from them now, the nuances and all that? Absolutely not. But I like them, and I always did. I mean, I always, even when in my high school years, I'd have cigars, and I smoked with my buddies and my friends. We're like 18. People just like, you look like you're not, you know? But I always enjoy it because it just tastes good.
Yeah. Well, and it's such a there's something about the experience of a premium cigar, and really any premium tobacco product, whether you're firing up a pipe or a premium cigar. Yeah. There's something about that experience, and especially now with everything going on in the world, 2020, a very strange year, and just taking those moments to really reflect on what's going on, to focus on your goals, to and especially now cherishing that time with friends and family, you know, sitting around a campfire with cigars, sitting around a glass of scotch with cigars, whatever it is. Those are, it seems like the last 8 or 9 months have at least for me, I'll say, have really made me focus in a little bit more on, you know, kind of savoring those moments with the cigars. Even though during the day now I'm smoking more cigars than I ever was, just because I have more time to do that. Truly. And more availability, not working in an office building, being able to work from home. But, you know, what do you find yourself on a regular basis? What are those moments, you know, those cigar moments for you when you don't have to worry about a blend, you don't have to worry about a project, when you can just sit down and focus on the smoke of that one cigar right then?
Watching movies, watching Netflix, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, what are you Netflixing?
Man, I just finished an American Murderer. Did you watch that?
Yes. So
man,
good.
What the? I got angry. I was like, I knew it. The gun of Sherlockian. So I mean, I like binge watched Elementary like 20 times. Watched everything Sherlock ever made. Like the Enola Holmes was good.
Yep.
You know, but for me, it's like also a cigar. It's like a great movie because it's suspension of reality, right? So that's what you're basically touching on, Matt. Is that when do I suspend reality for that moment that I can go inside myself and either be quiet or be inside my own thoughts, work through things. I mean, the cigar is great for that. But yeah, for me, it's up here where I'm sitting now. It's like I have this big patio. I'll sit up here and chill.
Yeah.
Or really watching movies. I mean, I watch a lot of stuff, man. That could be 8 segments. I mean, I'm like a voracious reader and I'm a voracious watcher, you know?
Love it. Are you Netflixing anything right now?
I'm way behind on a lot of stuff. I actually just finished Game of Thrones.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, good.
Were you as disappointed as the rest of the world?
I actually wasn't. I because I was so far behind, because it was, what was it, a year ago or 2 years ago that the final episode aired, and I saw all this shit on Facebook, friends of mine and people all upset about how Game of Thrones ended, and I thought, wow, it must have really sucked. And so I watched through the whole series, and I didn't see the big deal. I thought it was pretty good, actually. You know, as far as the actual story arc, I think the message they were going for, I think they got there.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't read the books, so you know, if I know people who read the books tend to, you know, feel a certain kind of way about when scripts, you know, they have to make choices for TV and movies, you know, and it's not always going to be exactly the same as the books. They have to make those choices sometimes. So, but as an overall series, I thought it had a lot of great points. I thought there was some stuff in it that wasn't awesome, but overall, I think it was a really good series.
That's one of those things where, you know, I'm a peaceful guy. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But when I talk about a movie or a series and somebody says the book was better, I want to punch him in the throat. Like, dude, I read too. Like, I love books. Yeah, The Shining, all of Stephen King's books are better than the movies, you know. You know, that's where I'm at too. But can we just talk about the movie and not with your little smart-ass comment? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a book is so much texture. And the movie, remember, it's shot in your head.
That's right.
That's the beauty of literature. I mean, I could go on and on about certain like genres, but to say that, you know, Robert Ludlum's book in Jason Bourne, that was done in the 70s.
Yeah.
Right? The book. To say that the movie's not awesome, you're an asshole. I mean, no, they're what? I mean, is it the book? Is it Ludlum's vision? Doubtful. Was it Clancy's visions in all the movies? You know, was it the Jack Reacher one with Tom Cruise? Dude, Jack Reacher in the book is like 6'4" blind guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Like swole, like out of his mind. It's like a bag of walnuts covered in skin, you know? and that's not Tom Cruise.
Right.
Right, but so, I mean, what I'm really a dick about is Sherlock.
Okay.
I lose it because I'm really into it. And I love it. I mean, it's not just a character. It's the whole thing of the deduction and the genius of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Him being so flawed, but also being so amazing of a person, you know? And
That
like
latest series.
cocaine when he was bored. I mean, people don't really, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And you read like, what? You know? He's got like a curtain slipper jammed full of tobacco and he's smoking. It's like, why would he use a slipper? It's just so strange. But I mean, when they interpret things, like what upset me deeply was that I love Will Ferrell anyway, you know? But when Will Ferrell did that with the guy there, with the thing that he did like Step Brothers, I got mad. I wouldn't watch 20 minutes of that movie.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen that Sherlock Holmes parody, and I'd have no desire to see it.
Either.
I heard it was one of the worst movies ever made.
That, and it's shameful.
Yeah.
A guy like me, like, I only watched like 20 minutes, but I got physically mad. I was like, I did an event with Will Ferrell called College for Cancer, and it was him and Kevin Spacey at Bighorn Country Club out in California years back. And the nicest guy you ever want to meet. He got his wife and the kid. He was like, but if I ever see him again, I'm like, dude, wow, you know. Speak to the anchor man. What the? You messing with, you know, starts going on and go. It was a slur.
Right.
You know. I mean,
Like, and it's not like.
See, I'm a weirdo. So I mean, I know it sounds really strange. Who gives a shit what Phil thinks about Sherlock Holmes? But I do. I like it. I mean,
I totally get it.
Yeah.
And it would have been different if he would have approached it like Adam Sandler when he went into, what is that one? Love. What is it? Love Actually or.
Punch Drunk Love? Are you talking Adam Sandler?
When he did that real movie, and he wasn't the freaking comedian. He wasn't.
That was Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah. When the 9/11 one, like his wife died.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That was freaky. That was bad.
And he was solid.
Well, that was one of the. I mean, the reason. So that was a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. He's the same guy that made There Will Be Blood and Boogie Nights. And
right.
As far as I'm concerned, he's one of the best in the business right now when it comes to directing movies and telling stories. I think There Will Be Blood is maybe the best movie of the last 40 years.
Dude, that movie's not for everyone. I mean, I had to take.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah, but as far as
dramatic
movies, dramatic movies, I'll say it's one of the best of the last 40 years, maybe the best for me.
It's intense. No, it's intense, and it's based on William Randolph Hearst, right? No, it's based on the Gettys, or one of the big oil people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was based on that. He was great. He was so bad. The last scene is insane. When he's in the bowling alley, and he's just still a roughneck drunk and kills the guy with the bowling pin. What did he say? That's it? Or
He said I'm finished.
I'm finished.
Yeah.
Just hammered Donley, Honduras drunk. I've been there. You know? Just like cowboy drunk. You know?
So,
I'm finished. That's true. That's so good.
I love that line. So, all right, that's my fault for getting off on that, but we're gonna do that, guys. We're gonna do that tonight. We're just gonna talk.
We're
and
having
have a
fun.
good time.
We're having fun.
So,
Thank you.
Going back to into premium cigars and tobacco. So how, what were some of the ways that you first started actually working in the business, where that was your job, that was your task, that was your career, and did you have any career aspirations or other careers you worked in prior to premium cigars, or was it always about tobacco for you?
No, I mean, the catalyst was in high school, I found an Indian motorcycle. It's a long story, but I met a guy that lived on my street in Dana Point, and he had the trademark. And I was doing retail trades in high school for extra credit. So I did a project where I was printing T-shirts, and I asked him if I could use the trademark, and he said, "Cool." So I was making like $1,000 on the weekend selling T-shirts, and I convinced my father to get me motorcycles. So the guy gave me half the trademark for $1. Right, because he's like, I want to see what you do with it. So, long story short, I graduated high school, moved to Springfield, Mass, a home Indian, and during that 10 years of that, I just wanted to make premium cigars because we had the Indian trademark. And one night I'm laying in my bed looking in a mirror, and I had an Indian tank bag logo, the headdress,
Yep.
and it was inverted, right? So it was two faces. So I came up with Indian Tobacco Company, Indian Tobacco, right? And so I just called a place in Stamford, Connecticut, Greenwich over there, called UST. Sounds legit, right? US Tobacco. I mean, that's like, you can't get more Americana than that. And I just hooked up with a guy named Raymond Guy that we had at the time was the head of the whole division of premium cigars. And anyone who knows the real history of like UST and their premium division, this guy was the guy. I got blessed to meet with and work with and learn under the tutelage of the master. Him being one of them, Nestor Placenta being another one of them, Omen Julio Roa, Avelio, all these cats that during the 90s, once I got into it, and really, as you say, Doug, the fried Indian and Indian fell apart with my dad. He does with all the money, went to prison over it, which is another insane story. But so I met this guy and I started making cigars and giving them away. Like a leather jacket we were making. We were making a lot of parallel accessories, using that money to build old bikes, then sell them, because we rented the old 5th Street building in Springfield, Mass, which was the home of Indian, and I'd put a wiring harness on it. We'd do some upgrades on the bike, or reassemble them there, and then stamp it, reassembled its original plan and stuff like that. It was really cool. It was ahead of the time. But I felt there was a boom coming because I know that the line was going to be over. I mean, motorcycles were up like crazy. All the leather jackets and all the needles and all the varsity stuff I was doing and all the hats and all the Americana from the early Americana was really picking up. Like, people wanted to live the old days because they think the Y2K, and everyone forgot about that. Everyone was going crazy.
Yeah.
That's why champagne sold out. There's no champagne left. Everyone was trying to live in the 20s. So the cigars just were a natural progression. And so I started making them and giving them away. And by the time I got out with my dad, I mean, I had lost everything. And I was ended up in North Carolina moving furniture. And I had a bunch of cigars made. So I just sold everything I had, sold my Corvette, my guns, everything I had that was worth value, and I pretty much moved to Honduras. and found another factory because UST was making my cigars at the time. But they dropped me, like they dropped Nelson Miranda from Miami Cigar with the other guy, Fody Flores, which they ended up suing. Years later, I found out they lost money. Me, I didn't have to rub it together. How am I going to get a lawyer? I just said, okay. So I just by chance, Raymond, again, sends me the RTPA manual, right? And I saw Honduras Cuban tobaccos. So I called the place. It's an office in Miami. Long story short, it's a law office. I end up hooking up with the people. I fly down there, and then that's how it began. Within 72 hours of me being in Honduras, I'm in jail in Nicaragua being a contraband smuggler. It's crazy stuff. It's Indiana Jones, Romance in the Stone, mixed with Blow, mixed with all the weird shit movies, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I mean, I'm like a young guy now. I started when I was 18 in 1991. I graduated high school at 19. So I'm only 38 now, and I've been in business next year 30 years. It's just like surreal.
Yeah.
And the people I met then, and their kids now are running it, and they're ballers. Or the other side of it, in 85 to 90% of the people I met then, I don't have no idea where they're at.
Right.
The boom was crazy, huh?
Yeah.
And me, I had Indian tobacco, and I met a guy named Roger Patel in 96. He became my partner. We grew Indian tobacco to insane levels. In 2001, I resigned. In 2002, RP was born. And the guy right behind me, the Drew Estate, Jonathan just sleeping on my couch in Honduras. He was in my wedding. Tattoo Pete Johnson used to work the Grand Evander when I launched Indian, and that was my dad was out of prison. My dad used to buy cigars from him. I get it. I'm the guinea Forrest Gump. That's what people say. That's the best way to explain it without getting too long-winded. There's a picture of me, like, see, there's Benjamin Franklin. What's up? There's Phil. I got like a wig on. Like, I'm driving the spike in the Intercontinental Railroad. Right. See, because I've always been very interested in other people more than myself. And I know I'm talking a lot, and I'm basically what this format's for is that, but I really love what you guys do. Anyone. I'm interested in the weirdest shit, but I've had to later in life use the actual Sherlock theory of that mind addict. Have you ever heard that theory? Where you won't have so much stick in the attic, right? Like Sherlock Holmes is a genius at like botany, in chemistry, but you'd ask him about what football team was doing good.
Yeah.
He's like, why? Who?
Right.
Because he says the space is so important in my head for stuff I need. I'm not going to put anything in my attic to clutter it. Yeah. No clutter, right? And so later in life, I'm still weird. I go on like rabbit hole shit on all kinds of weird. Lately, it's been collie stick fighting. I can get into it. Just weird. Like knife making, and then just strange stuff. Start them out with my sons with my training, but then it gets back to like, I don't know if I need that in my space, so I kind of like get to a level of something that I'm familiar enough with it, but I enjoy it, and then I go to something else because I can refer back to it, And of course, I'm getting off on a tangent. See, I apologize.
No, it's all good, and honestly, yeah. I can relate to that in a lot of ways. Whether it's because my number one, obviously my number one hobby, passion outside of my family and my faith is premium cigars. So, just collecting and reviewing and writing about and interviewing you guys and all the different people in the cigar business, that's obviously number one. But same with you. I find myself having so many other interests, whether it's, I'm right now gradually starting to learn a little bit about wine. I've also gone down the same rabbit hole as you with going on YouTube and learning about knife making and learning about all different kinds of metalworking and forging and then it's just, but I
got into these guys restoring toys. Have you ever seen that?
Seen what now?
Restoring old toys.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Love
Dude,
those guys.
Soothing, calming shit.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. I'm like, I want to see this. I got to see this. And the
And
talk
there's-
is all rusted, and it's like,
And
who
there's
is this guy?
There's this one guy.
Who dedicated his life. I mean, I respect him.
Yeah. And there's this one guy. He restores old tools, and his channel is from Sweden, I think, or Switzerland. I think it's Sweden. And channel. I'll give him a shout out. His channel's called My Mechanics.
Yes.
And he restores old tools.
Thank you,
and
son.
I mean, these tools, you look at them and you're like, there's no way that tool's ever gonna work again. And
Stick your head in.
he goes and he doesn't talk. All he does is,
It's my son.
hey, what's up, buddy? So all he does is go through part by part, disassembling the old thing, removing the rust, removing the scale, replacing any parts that need to be replaced, and then putting it back together. And it's better than when it was brand new. And he doesn't say a word during the videos. There's
Right.
he doesn't speak at all. And I just sit there watching these 20 or 30-minute long videos, mesmerized by the whole process.
I'm telling you, man, it's that really soothing. It is something about that. I mean, I don't care what anyone says. It's like watching people cook's one thing, but when the guy fixes like an old axe, then he makes the leather scarab and stuff.
I love that.
I'm like, I always do that. I'm like that. I'm that weirdo who always comments, man, I love you, man. That's you.
Yeah.
You know, much respect to you.
Or this guy
I
that
believe I'm an art teacher as much as I'm working with a dying art every day.
Yeah, and that is true. Premium cigars being a dying art, but this other guy, I sent Garrett this video last week. There's these young guys that have this metal shop in Montana, in the middle of nowhere in Montana.
One guy's a Brit, young kid.
One guy's a British transplant, the other guy's a local, and they're both in their 20s, and they've got this gorgeous metalworking shop where they make custom Damascus knives, and they made a Damascus pizza cutter that absolutely is. And I hardly ever. I'm actually the opposite. I hardly ever comment on YouTube videos. But I left a comment on that video, and I said that is one of the most stunning pieces of art I've ever seen in my life. It is. It's a pizza cutter, for God's sake.
Right.
And it belongs in a museum. I mean, it is one of the most perfect pieces of art I've ever seen.
Because how he just intricately put all of the Damascus patterns and then would say, I'm going to fold it this way so then we get this pattern on this section. I mean, it's
You gotta respect that, man. And it's like it's lost because everything's generated.
Yes.
Right.
Now everything is been touched, has been filtered, has been. But when you see somebody do something with their hand, you know,
Yep.
you got to give respect to it. You know what I mean? But it's not. I'm not commenting on some stupid thing on Instagram. I mean, if somebody does something. Like, I mean, there's one, I'm not addicted to this other because it's called Obscure Cars Daily. Dude, I text that guy. Now I'm like his buddy. He's going to watch tonight. I told him to watch tonight. 'Cause I'm like a fanatic for cars. I'm a weird guy like that. I grew up around it with my dad. Like, my dad was a fanatic car guy. Any kind of car. We get into weird conversations. And we won't even talk about cigars. You know?
Yeah.
But that's not why we're here. But I just the text him. He right. This guy. You got to look at it. Obscure Cars Daily, right? Read through how he explains these are cars you like cars weird stuff. But then all of a sudden he puts up some insane thing in his text. Like, I just ate 2 pounds of mushrooms and I'm gonna go. No, it's crazy. And I'm like. And I said, bro, you know what? I really enjoy it. I connected. And he's like, JFK wasn't killed by, Hitler household. He was killed by aliens. And then he switches back to like Enzo Ferrari did this and this and this. And he says these weird things while I'm smoking mescaline. And it's just like weirdest things. Do it, read them. If you know what I mean. You'll give me much respect again. And then we started to talk. And I said, hey, man, I'm in the cigar industry, I mean, but I'm a car guy. And I started commenting on crazy stuff. I know what that is. And I just began, he works in like a university in like Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
He's a normal, cool guy, man. Interesting people,
All right. One more YouTube rabbit hole that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Have you seen the guys in South America that carve like palaces into the ground?
No.
I've seen the Filipino guy that made like a house.
So there's a Filipino guy, and he's awesome too. And then there's another crew of guys that are in the jungle of Brazil,
Yeah.
and they do the same thing. But there's a team of them, and they make these elaborate like underground houses with pools and just digging out of this muddy ground.
Hillside. Yeah.
And the perfection of the walls and the stairs, and it's mind-boggling. And they'll
Think
have
about,
like a
when you watch that, think about how the guy goes. You know what, man? Let's not go out. Let's go into the jungle and dig out a fucking mansion. Now, that's what gets me. It's like, how did that guy come up with that?
Right.
And he convinced his buddy, go, hey, man, let's just grab some boards. These guys don't have like great tools. I know they don't.
right.
It's like a plank
Yes.
and like a dowel. Like,
Yeah.
you know? And all of a sudden they're done, and you're like, I want to live there, man. Where is this guy?
Well, they can't just drive to Home. They can't just drive to Home Depot.
No, dude, they got some dudes out there right now. Who knows what's going on? You're the Amazon. I know. And the guy in Thailand, then he's done. I've seen it. He's done. Then he makes like a fire, and he go cook some food, and he's just chilling, eating in his new house.
Yes.
You know, like nothing. Like you don't do this. Like where you live. I just wanted a new spot. Am I gonna live here? Maybe not. I'm just maybe gonna eat some soup. Go back to my real house.
He might eat a lot of mushrooms, maybe.
I think he's into the mescaline heavily. He's on his own. God bless him. You have to be able to come to dig a hole like that, you know?
Well, being in the rainforest, he could just pick up a frog and lick it and probably
Right.
get the same effect.
Yeah.
Pure ayahuasca.
Yeah.
So
man.
I
We're
want
having
to
the whole time over.
check in real quick on this cigar and have you talk about this project a little bit that we talked about before we went on air. And I'm really enjoying this cigar a lot. Ecuadorian Connecticut Shade wrapper, which is I think it's a wrapper that is, thank God, starting to see a little bit of a renaissance.
Yep.
It's regaining some of its popularity again, because I think for a while power was king and nuance was lost, and in the premium cigar world, and so having cigars with nuance to them, I think is important. And so tell us a little bit about the Echo Premium, and how it came about, and what consumers can expect from it.
Well, I always believe in good omens, and that was sent to you guys incorrectly, but I believe that it's correct now.
It was divine intervention.
Because it forced me to have somebody to try it, besides people who bought it, kind of like a review, or kind of my peers, or whatever you want to consider each other, I was telling you earlier that you got your 250 to 350 sticks, Cuban sandwich, meat fill, bundle, ruin your palate for price point stuff, which I don't blame people for doing, because you know what? It is what it is. And then you jump to the, was it 6 to 8, now it's 8 to 10 price point. There's no true Echo Premium, blue collar premium out there that is consistent.
Mm-hmm.
You might get hit or miss. You might get something that somebody did buy from a factory that they got rid of, right? And there's some other people out there who do that, and then they put it in a package and they call it some weird name and they make you pay $15 for them, right? There's that. Or there's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to target basically, it's not I wouldn't say factory direct, but I'll explain to you what I explained to you guys earlier. I've lately did a lot of reorganization in my life, and it was even upgraded during this whole pandemic. I got to really dig deep into staying home and doing things. And my new partner is the largest tobacco grower here, right? So I can get materials that are super high quality, right? And in turn, take away boxes, bands, advertising, travel expenses, all these things that go into the cost of a premium cigar, right? And then instead of making it cheap, take that money and apply it to the manufacturing processes in the cigar itself. Hence, economical premium, eco premium, right? So basically what you're getting is all the cost of what it would have cost to make the cigar with the box band and everything else. Now it's all focused on the cigar itself, right?
Yeah.
No frill. Blue collar opulence, right? And that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what I think that I would want as putting myself in the consumer's shoes. If I was in a place where I didn't know or didn't another brand I liked, and I knew that was what that was, I'd be like, it's a go-to. It's the McDonald's, man, period, you know?
Yeah. Well, I like that term, blue collar opulence, you know, because it's you know, even you know, those of us who, you know, regardless of what our financial situation is, there are times that we just don't want to spend $12 on a premium cigar, but we want the same experience with, you know, and sometimes you pick and choose which things you're gonna, as a consumer, I'm saying we pick and choose what we're going to go for in a particular cigar purchase. Just take an individual cigar purchase, and you've got artwork, boxes, bands, presentation, which we talked about before the show. We love all that stuff, and it's very important. But there are times that you would rather put that money of your purchase into just focusing on the tobacco and focusing on the smoke itself.
Just stripped it down.
Yeah.
Right? Lighten the load. Like we were talking about earlier about like, making the car as fast as you can. Right? And look at it this way. This is another way, a good way to look at it. Okay. You go to the best steakhouse, right? You buy that prime steak, cowboy, tomahawk, bone-in ribeye, whatever the term they want. You know, there's 100 terms for the same steak, right?
Mm-hmm.
They throw on the grill, all that stuff. That's $250. You go to your local butcher, buy the same cut of meat, same steak, put salt and pepper on it, throw it in your grill, cost you $25, right? You cut out all of the guy has to pay the lights and the rent and the wait staff and all that, right? But what experience do you want? Sometimes you want that steakhouse experience.
Exactly.
You want to wear the wingtips and put the fly watch on and go out there and look and be seen.
Yeah.
But when you just want to eat a good piece of meat, you go buy your stuff, you throw it on your grill, you control it. It's the narrative is your narrative.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm trying to make the Eco Premium, the cigar's the narrative. There's no airs to it.
Yeah.
If you want a banging stick that you can enjoy, that's truly medium, right? It's not too strong and it's not too light.
Yeah.
The blue collar opulent, man. It's the blue collar premium. It's an Eco Premium. And that's what that is. And that's what you're smoking there.
Are these on the market yet?
In Canada.
Okay.
And they're coming to the States to be in California soon.
Okay.
Nice.
And I've been talking to a lot of people. It's going to be going into the mass wholesale. Not really cataloged yet, but eventually it will. But I'm just trying to get it to the more wholesalers.
Yeah.
That deal with smaller cigar shops that sometimes buy from like the Baron Dutch or the one gentleman there, you know, Tom Sullivan, you know what I mean? You know, those cats and like that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and it kind of goes back to the little bit that we were talking about this YouTube channel where the guys made this fancy Damascus pizza cutter. You think yourself, it's just a pizza cutter, but so you look at that fancy Damascus pizza cutter that was.
It's not a pizza cutter anymore.
Well, yeah,
right.
It's perfectly polished in every way, and the presentation of it was absolutely gorgeous. So I look at that as that's your debonair house. Because it's not only is it meticulously crafted in even the smallest, tiniest little detail that you think, why on earth would you put so much thought into such a mundane little detail? it's
I'm a
because
weirdo.
it's because, and some people sometimes they think you are weird. Why would you put so much time and thought and effort into such a mundane little detail? So, and as far as, you know, looking at it from a cigar perspective, you know, with Debonair House, you've got the absolutely gorgeous regal presentation and the look of the bands and that's that style.
That's
you know?
Debonair.
And then, but then at the same time, that same craftsman who put all that money and time and all that presentation into that pizza cutter, he could make just a plain kitchen knife, but with materials that are still of the highest quality. But he pulls back the reins on the presentation a little bit, and he just focuses on the materials and the sharpness and the durability.
Absolutely.
And it's the same kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing.
It's manufacturing process. It's like the Debonair ideal. I mean, it's the you know, pursuit of authenticity. We've talked before. I mean, that's what my whole goal is. You know, I mean, I don't make cigars anymore. I make reasons for people to enjoy their lives. That's always been my thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm trying to pass on as much hard work and let me take the reins. So when you get it, it's effortless.
Right.
You know, and I mean, it's pursuit, man. I'm trying to make the best cigar ever made by man. That's my pursuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that, dude. Oh, that burl hand. You got like a boat. Look at this. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so it's got a burl handle. It's got mastodon ivory.
Mastodon ivory.
And it's we'll
probably like $5,000, right?
Well, he made it for a client. It was a commission job from a client of his.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's so.
What is the name of that
channel again, Garrett?
It is Alec Steele.
Yeah.
Steele.
So Alex Steele is the name of that YouTube channel. Check it out. It's phenomenal.
I will. But man, I'm glad you kind of dig it. And it's like, some people just think I'm crazy, but then once they get to know me, they're like, this is how I am, you know. And I've been around long enough that first they think I'm like, you know, the most interesting man in the world. Then they think I'm full of shit. And then they're like, I belittle myself because I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I've made every mistake there is to make. That's why I'm an expert, I guess. And I'm just as dumb and as smart as the next guy. And I mean, I've now learned that I can choose my problems, which ones to solve, and not try to solve everybody else's. But it goes back to my true joy. Like you were saying, what's your fun? It is the cigar thing, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the manipulation of these leaves. It's actually watching guys make it. You know, like now doing the Echo Premium project, took all the fanciness out of it. So this is bare bones cigar making. 101 masterclass with these old school cats.
Yeah.
Which I learned it in these grimy like little factories. I mean, they're not polished, fancy tour-worthy places. They're a working factory.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a machinist shop or blacksmith shop. You know.
Yeah.
You know, you go to a true blacksmith. I mean, the guy's filthy.
Right.
His nails, you're like right on, man.
Yeah.
He's sweating. He's got that forward. He's hammering at it. You know. But when you're talking, he's like having a conversation with you. Yeah, man. Yeah, my kids are great. Yeah. Kids are good. My wife's making tacos. Like, it's beyond his. It's his muscle. It's his mind memory, muscle memory.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's second nature, as they say, right?
That's right.
Right.
And that's what, you know, everybody has so much critique. I'm not about criticizing people and all this weird stuff, but people just need to find the unknown niche, right?
Yeah.
And like you get these fake bullshit, positive people on the internet that they've done nothing, and they want you to be like you got to go to somebody that's failed and done these things, you know, and really been successful and then been unsuccessful many times. It's for me to believe it. I mean, Norman Vincent Peale, Napoleon Hill. You're looking at these guys, these are prolific guys. These are the 30s during the Depression. They came back and wrote this book, lost everything, came back. And they're still relevant in this time period, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But people, find what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. No, you're going to work a day. you're going to work your ass off in this life.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? But you're not here long. You know?
Yeah.
You're going to go around this bubble. It's only going to spin so many times. Like Eddie Van Halen died today.
Yeah, that's...
You know, and so in our era, I mean, you remember that. Hot for Teacher and all that stuff. I mean, that's like quintessential stuff, you know? And he always would say, you know what, man? It's a short lap. Yeah. Run it good, you know?
Well, and he was one of those guys, too, that he focused on his craft his whole life. And, you know, the
next level.
You know, and you know, with guitar, you talk about muscle memory. You mentioned muscle memory a few minets ago. That's, I mean, he gets it down. He had it down to the point where he didn't have to think about it anymore. So that once he had the craft developed and the muscle memory down, then he could create. And that's why any endeavor that you take on, whether it's cigars or guitar or metalworking, you get the fundamentals down. You work your ass off to get the fundamentals down, and you learn the science of it, the chemistry of it, whatever it is.
Right.
And then once that muscle memory is developed, then you can just focus on the creativity piece of it, and just coming up with new and interesting knives, songs, cigars, whatever it is, and that's where the fun. Yeah. That's where the sweet spot is. That's where the fun and the joy is. You know,
it's that Buddhist monk Zen, you know, pure enlightenment.
Yeah.
I mean, you be lucky to reach even close to that, any of us. Because you don't have 30 years to sit and breathe. You know, and some of these guys are like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, the guy's been doing it for 30 years. He can control his breath, the low, the temperature in his fingertips and his toes. And 30 years, man. Sitting in the heat. You want to apply that to life? You know, apply that to fatherhood.
Oh.
Apply that to being a husband. Apply that to, you know, it's beautiful confusion.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a painful experience, man. Life is painful.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
Yeah.
And shit sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
It does sometimes.
Well, and in a right now society, so many people have a hard time of putting in that work ethic to get to that place. Yeah. There's a disgraced comedian who I won't mention, but he did tell a great story about being a drummer. And he, you know, said to his drum instructor, you know, I want to do, and the instructor said, okay, here, do this, do. No, I don't want to do that. I want to do. And we all want to do the amazing Phil. We all just want to, you know, do that, but we don't want to put in the work to get to that place. We want to do it right now. And if I can't do it right now, then I'm bored and I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah, watch The Social Dilemma. Have you seen that on Netflix?
No.
It'll fuck your brain up.
Damn it.
It'll blow you're talking the main cast from Twitter, Instagram. The guy was head of monetization for Facebook. How the AI is getting so good that we're targeted by machines and that they're frightened about how it's going, and that these people have now, you know, it's like, watch it. It's Social Dilemma. I'm like,
all right,
yeah,
work done. And I kind of do that. I log out always, and I don't spend as much time. But when you watch it, it's just like, what? Yeah, the Social Dilemma.
So what? You know, you've been doing this so long that you already mentioned that you've seen a lot of people come and go. You know, people who you know had a little bit of a bright light for a little while and then they just disappeared. And that happens in any industry. It happens in any industry. But one of the things that, you know, Garrett was just mentioning is, you know, where somebody comes in to, you know, and they say, I want to accomplish this massively complex thing. And the teacher says, if they're a good teacher, at least in my opinion, they say, okay, start with these basics here. You learn these basics, and then you come back for the next lesson, and I'll teach you the next set of basics, and then you incrementally work your way up.
Fundamentals, the fundamentals,
yeah, the fundamentals, and a lot. And this is not just recent; it's been happening for years, but especially in the last, I'd say maybe 10 or 12 years. The so-called, and I'm not a big fan of this term, but I'll use it just because it's what people recognize, the boutique cigar industry. Small brands, things like that. And there are a lot of brand owners who have come and gone in the last 10 or 12 years where they come out with a brand of cigars, and the cigars are on the market for a little while. They get a little bit of heat on the market for a little while, which is great, and then they fade away. And I think sometimes you get guys who will, go into a cigar factory with some money, with some cash in their pocket, and say, "Hey, I want to make a cigar," and they go in with these grand aspirations where they want to play the the Phil Collins drum fill perfectly, first time out of the gate, and without learning the fundamentals first. But then there are also a lot of people who have gone to start their brands, and they have either said from the very beginning that they're going to learn those fundamentals and incrementally work their way up along the way until they develop some chops and develop some of that muscle memory where they can really kind of play some of those hits on their own. But then you get sometimes companies come along where they just want to put a label on it and put it out in the market and start making some money without really understanding the true fundamentals that go into that product. And that kind of comes into the question, this term that you've used for a long time, this tobacco alchemy kind of term, and that's really about really understanding the raw materials that go into those premium cigars, and not just the raw materials once they're finished, but every step along the way of knowing where they're grown, how they're primed and cured and fermented, and all the steps along the way. So what is that? Kind of give us your synopsis of that term, of that tobacco alchemy term, when it comes to your philosophy behind the cigars that you put out to the market.
The term alchemy is vast, but it's the alchemization of one soul to me. It's where, you start from the seed itself, and then you get to the final product in the store. But all those steps are crucial. You can't, lack on your laurels or your whole thing in any step of it. And you can, in the way that you find somebody that takes 5 or 6 of those steps, that know those steps better than anyone. Right? And you can learn from them. If they want to teach you. Yeah. And then you find your specialty in it. I don't know everything, man. I don't roll every cigar I make. That's the roller's job. Right. That's the alchemy. It's putting all that into a beaker and shaking it up. What I do with the tobacco that nobody does is I do my own alchemy, which I take after final fermentation, before baling. I take the tobacco and I put it in micro bulbs, right? And then in a room, and I introduce steam that's derived by distilled water. I heat that micro bulb up to a certain temperature, right? And then I flip it. But to get it to that temperature, right? The room gets a certain temperature, and then I flush that room. And it gets it quicker before sweating. I learned from pipe that. Right. So that's my alchemy, right? But it's trying to turn lead to gold, right? That's the whole trick. And I destroyed so much. That's what people don't understand. And, getting back to the people that get in the industry and they're gone or whatever, when they finally get the final bill, they're broke.
Yeah.
It's super expensive. You're sitting on stuff for a year. I make a new size. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to sell or not. You make a Robusto in the store, they're going to sell. If they're good. But Gordos, Churchill, Bellicoso. Yeah, no. They don't. they're slow. They're the slow sizes.
Yeah.
You might hit in one area, but then the other area they're sitting on the shelf collecting dust. You know?
Yeah.
But the whole alcohol thing, I mean, in tobacco, it's my personal take on it won't be the take of Nick Melillo or Steve Saka,
Yeah.
right? Or Don Pepini, or these guys that we know, like you know, household names, Fuente. But these pinnacle industry people go behind the curtain. Who's the wizard?
Right.
Right. You never meet the wizard. You know what?
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the wizard. I want to be the guy who has to hold the curtain.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah.
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 So I know where to go. And I've always been good at that because I'm real honest. I love people. I know that, I mean, I like to talk, but I know how to keep a secret. You know? And I can do the whole thing. And I learned from my dad, who would be the Darth Vader of this movie, where I try to be Luke Skywalker of the movie, you know? But it's still blood.
Yeah.
So I took that, him make money with people, not from people, and always be a gentleman, 51st, which I was a prop to his play, right? Because when he was running hustles and game on people, they quizzed me. He had convinced me so deeply of what his theory was. So when they asked me, they betted my father to me, I would spit his shit. But I stuck with me, and I practiced it because I thought it was true. Until years later, I knew it was over. I found out that was a scam. But I was brainwashed correctly. You understand where I'm going?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's what it's always been. I'm that idiot that moves these places and doesn't leave either. So they end up seeing me in the supermarket, or at the movie theater, or at the local restaurant.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I become a fixture. And then they trust you. And then they see you not some American asshole, ugly American doing weird stuff. You're like, this guy's down here. I mean, none of my children were born in America, put it that way.
Yeah.
The first one was born in Honduras, and the other two were born here in the DR. And they're American. My wife's Honduran from Don Lee, school teacher.
And how Italian are you?
My mom, I'm 3/4 Italian, 1/4 Hungarian.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad's side, my grandfather was Sicilian, and my grandmother was from Salerno.
Okay.
And then my mom's side, my grandfather was from like Fiumicino, down Rome, and then they were like down from Naples, that one side of his family. And then my mom, she was from Budapest.
Okay.
Was born in Ankara. I mean, what? Yeah.
So do
You know
you, I know you speak English and Spanish. Do you also speak Italian and Hungarian?
I speak Italian. I spoke it fluently for years, but I kind of deleted it out of the attic with the Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't speak no Hungarian at all.
Okay.
You know, paprikash, goulash, I mean, that's not the matter. Yeah.
Do you make your own pasta?
I can, yeah, but I like dry pasta. I don't like fresh pasta. I lived in Rome for 3 years, and I mean, the best pasta you'll eat is De Cecco or Barilla. You can't go wrong with that. I just don't like I don't like the yolky taste of fresh pasta. I never did. Don't get me wrong, it's good.
Yeah.
But is it that al dente?
Mm-hmm.
No, man, there's nothing like the good pasta arrabbiata. Something,
Yeah.
the penne arrabbiata, it's like something magical. That's alchemy.
Yes.
Yes.
Like a matriciana with the guanciale of the pig's cheek, and
Oh.
they're not. I mean, you're talking a basic, simple tomatoes, onions, pepper, a little bit of pepperoncini, and fat. But each step is so important.
Yep.
Yes.
You fry up the guanciale, you take it out, you put the onions, let them cook down, then you add this, and you add the whole peeled tomato. Don't use the juice. And then the
Layers.
basil, you don't chop the basil with a knife because it bruises it. You rip it.
That's right.
And that's just beautiful to me. I'm so interested in stuff like that.
Yeah.
For me, it's ossobuco.
Yeah, that's
for Italian food. I mean,
my mouth watered when you said that.
Oh,
I really did, honestly.
I could.
Zuppa Toscana for me.
Oh,
Toscana, yeah, that's awesome. Pasta fagioli made right.
Oh, yes.
There's another thing. I don't know if you know. It's called pasta ciccia, right? It's garbanzo bean, right? How you make it? You take garbanzo bean, whole peeled tomatoes, carrot, onions, right? You make your base, then you put the tomatoes and all that, right? Then you add garbanzo bean, right? You drain them, let it boil down. Then you add like not elbow macaroni, like the little like arecchia, you know, like the little ear pasta, like the little tube,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When it's boiled down, you add them into the actual sauce, right? Let that cook the pasta in the sauce. Eat that with some fresh grated pecorino romano and a little bit of olive oil. Dude, you have no idea what I just explained to you. That shit, first off, you will pass out cold after eating it. It would suck all the blood from your entire body into your stomach. You know, that's like a worker peasant, like fill your gut food.
yeah.
Yes.
But it's so flavorful, and you overeat it, you can't help it.
Right.
I'll give you a huge bowl, you'll go, come on, dude, why did you give that to me? You'll eat it, and it's gone. You're like, I don't know why it happened here. You know? And then you wake up 3 hours later on the couch, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Oh,
That's what. Yeah, you eat that bowl of food and you take that last bite and you sit there and you go, I hate everything.
yes.
And then yeah, an hour later,
I'm not going to call it a mistake, but
you're
You're
going
like, you
back
know
for
what?
more.
I don't care. That's how I was. It's like, I just fuck it. I don't care. I just did this. I'm owning it.
yep.
I'm gonna pay the profit later. You know. But see, I mean, I'm freakishly about like training. Like I've gotten addicted to it. Like once I got sober, I read a lot. I got to show me something better. I'm gonna do it. So they always say that like everything is like a habit forming in 21 days. So if you're getting sober and you work out, your endorphins and the dopamine that's in your body will help you stay sober. Dude, I've been working out consistently for like 15 years.
Oh,
I got addicted to it.
Yeah.
And during this, everyone gave me, dude, I dropped like 17 pounds.
Wow.
Just working out with my son. We made like a father and son YouTube channel. Just bored.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's fun. Hitting the bag up here at the gym or whatever. See, it's just like, yes, I probably can take things to the extreme, but I mean, I feel good about it, you know? I just like it. I mean, I push myself. I'm my work. I mean, you know what? I don't care what anyone else thinks about me. I care what I think.
there
Right.
you go.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be better myself. I want to be a better man tomorrow than I was today. I want to be a better husband, a better father. When I go at night, whatever way out there, when I pray, when I say my thanks, my grace, whatever you want to call it, thank you for one more day in this bubble. Let me be better tomorrow. Just give me the desire to have the desire to do the next thing I don't want to do.
Yep.
Because that's what makes you go farther in life. It's that desire to have the desire.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah.
That's the old Loyola guy, you know? That's the whole that dude was like insane. He was like a warrior and like a philanderer. And he said one day he broke his leg and it didn't feel good when they reset it. It's a great story. You know? I mean, I can get into weird shit, but it's like these are like 1,500 people doing stuff. Became a saint
Yeah.
because he wanted to become a saint.
Garrett's microphone's falling apart.
Sorry. Well,
You guys live close to each other?
What's that?
You guys live close to each other?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, we've been friends for 6 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
Same town, right?
Pretty close.
I'm like 20 miles south.
Right. Whose house are you in tonight?
It's my
Where's the
house.
studio? It's your place.
Matt's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, so Garrett and I got hooked up on we actually met online on a cigar discussion board
Yeah.
and found out we lived close to each other, and he said we've got this thing called merch. We meet every Wednesday night, and it's called Man Church, and we get together and we talk about Jesus and we smoke cigars.
Beautiful.
So I said, dude, that's right up my alley. I'm in. Where is it and when? And I've been going ever since, and we've been friends ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
There's another Netflix thing. It's called the what the heck is it again? I'll think of it. I'll send you it. It's Christian, yeah, but it's like these guys at DC that have been around forever. That like run it all. I'm gonna send you. It's kind of frightening too. You're like, what? it's Jesus or nothing. It's like their thing is. Yeah, it's interesting. I'll send it to you.
yeah, send it.
Yeah.
You watch it.
So who you mentioned a little bit, about some, some notable people, in your life throughout your time in the cigar industry. But who are some of the mentors that really stand out that helped you along the way and helped teach you what to do, and even maybe some who taught you what not to do?
Nestor Placencia. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I tenured under him. I was at that factory for years with him, and he opened the doors to me. He told me, I'm not going to show you anything, but you can go find out, basically. So I was one of the only clients that wasn't a partner that had like an office in this place, and during all the Indian tobacco years. That old man Raymond died, freaking genius. See, that's what taught me the tobacco business. He didn't really teach me nothing about tobacco.
Yeah.
There's a business inside this whole thing. It's another level. Yeah. There's been a lot of those are two of the key ones, but then there's been there's a lot of different, Julio Rojas, a smart guy.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of people that I learned what not to do for them, which I won't mention because they know names they've only honored, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've learned a lot. I've learned what not to do from way more people than I've learned what to do.
Yeah. Well, and it's one of the. I mean, we close every show with it, but our sort of motto is burn cigars, not bridges.
Yeah.
And it's and really the thing behind that was it popped into my head because I was having a disagreement with a friend, but we were having that disagreement over cigars. Mm-hmm. And it was about a philosophical disagreement about life and all that, but we had a productive, civil, heated, yet respectful discussion over cigars, and there's something about the cigars that when you're burning that cigar, it takes away the desire to burn a bridge.
Yeah, and it's you can pause without being in uncomfortable silence.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you really want to, in the middle of something a little hot, you do. Yeah, and exactly. Or let me light the cigar. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a perfect palette for conversation.
Yeah.
That's why I know it's the same corny thing. I don't make cigars. I make reasons that people enjoy their life.
Yeah.
And that's really what I mean. Because it's the cheapest form of therapy.
Yeah, it is.
It's 45 minutes, It's time spent smoking a debonair can be opposite from one's life, right?
So Garrett's got his pocket knife out with. He's taken that. That's maybe 3/4 of an inch he's got left on that, and he's.
What do you think? It's pretty good, right?
Good.
It's tasty. It's just nice, right?
It's
Floral.
Great.
Dude, that's all Dominican tobacco except the wrapper. Now, people say Dominican tobacco is acidy and bitter. No, man.
I'm not getting any acid or any bitterness, and all the way to the nub.
Typically,
you get to the nub, and you start to get, a lot of sour, a lot of bitter, a lot of... You guys, when these come to the States, we'll let you know.
They're going to be everywhere. That's the thing. It's not going to be some exclusively straight. No, we'll tell you where to get them. They're made for everybody. They're made to be everyday smoke.
So I'll never forgive myself if I don't ask you to just give a rundown of the Debonair House blends and the Indian motorcycle as well. Okay, Debonair. I use Ecuadorian Jade on the Daybreak. On the Maduro, I use a Connecticut River Valley Maduro.
And then on the Habano, I use a Nicaragua Habano, gives me that potencia. All the blend is the same. I'm a core blender, right? I learned that from a guy named Pedro Martini, right? So basically, I use HBA, Hana Habano Guatemala, the Ligero from the Dominican. I use a Viso from Jalapa for the Viso, and then I use a Texas from the Dominican. That's debonair. And then I use the binder, is the San Vicente binder grown here. So it's a hybrid, right? Okay, Indian, I use a shade, right, from Ecuador. I use a Habano from Ecuador, and then I use a broad from Connecticut. Same binder, San Vicente, but then I use the HVA Ligero in a Piloto Cubano Mejorado Seco. Right, that's grown on the farm in my part. So you got a true 50-50, Seco and Ligero, right?
Right.
So you get a true medium.
Yeah.
So debonair, debonair is my best thing I ever made, right? And you get the higher grades, even the 33rd, the highest degrees of that one, the 8. Dude, that's been like, it was like cigar of the century. Kind of. Like, I've been voted like crazy things, you know? And just flattery. Because it's just, even the filler leaf was sorted. You know, I mean, it's super selected. That's why it's expensive, you know?
Yeah.
Indian, it's just an all-around solid steak.
Yep.
It's just made them for everybody. I sell those anywhere. I mean, I make them in singles. I make them in 5-packs. I make them in the box, of course. And I mean, I'll sell them in gas stations anywhere, man, because where do you fill up your motorcycle? Right.
Yeah.
Indian is that, it's the most famous brand or logo in the cigar industry that's not a cigar. I mean, there's nothing that's Indian motorcycle. I mean, that's above and beyond me. That's 1901. That's Americana finest, you know?
Well, and it's known throughout the world, and I assume all the products are available also outside of the U.S.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we sell Germany, Belgium, Holland, India, Singapore, Latin America, all over. Here in the DR, we're starting to sell.
Yeah.
Canada, of course, the U.S., Puerto Rico. We're in other places in Europe.
Yeah.
Poland.
Okay.
Yeah. Germany's my big one.
Well, and you mentioned on the debonair the Habano is it's a Nicaraguan Habano.
Yeah.
Which is and my knowledge is still developing, but you know the Habano is not all created equal, and it's not all, you know, there is something so unique in my experience about a Habano grown in Nicaragua versus in Jalapa versus grown in Ecuador. Most of a lot of the Habano on the market that you see as wrapper leaf is grown in Ecuador.
Yeah.
But there's something really unique about the stuff that's grown in Jalapa.
So deep. For me, my cigar is a Robusto Habano debonair.
Yeah.
Best cigar. That's like my #1 seller or whatever, when it's gotten the lowest ratings, like Cigar Aficionado.
Yeah.
Right. And then another thing, it's got insane rating. Like, but my total's got high rating. But across the board, you're gonna get some. You'll see. It's nothing compares to it. It's pinnacle shit. For me. But maybe some else says that's crap. So I don't know. I mean, my opinion is like opinions are like noses. Everyone's got one, you know?
Well, and you answered my next question, which is your go-to cigar, and that's the Habano Robusto.
As I'm smoking right now. Yeah, because it's just that Habano or Toro, but most of the Robusto.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. It's beefy, prime rib, fatty. You know, no aftertaste. That Habano has that sweat funk to it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's just deep and savory. You know. Whereas the Maduro is sweet, raisiny.
Right. Exactly.
And they're drastically different.
Yeah.
The same blend. And then the Daybreak, it's cream.
Yep.
Because I get that in Ecuador and Connecticut that's aged 2 years. So it's not that high yellow. So it's kind of golden.
Yeah.
You know?
So let's move into this week's Smokabulary word. And as always, Smokabulary is brought to you by AJ Fernandez, Born and raised in Cuba, AJ Fernandez now produces unparalleled premium cigars in Esteli, Nicaragua. The day-to-day operations at Tabacalera AJ Fernandez are managed under the watchful eye of Mr. Fernandez himself in order to ensure superior quality. The AJ Fernandez portfolio of premium cigars provides blend, strength, and flavor profiles to match the preferences of any premium cigar consumer. Whether it's New World, Dias de Gloria, San Latano, Enclave, or Bellas Artes, you are sure to be satisfied with a premium cigar from AJ Fernandez. So, guys, this week's smokabulary word is cellophane. So, no real mystery here. Cellophane. We see these around pretty much every cigar sold in the U.S. these days. There are a few brands that don't use cellophane, but it's simply it's a way to keep the cigars protected during shipping, when they're in the boxes, when they're being handled, and so that when they're in the humidor at your brick and mortar cigar shops and somebody picks one up and decides to put it back in the box, you don't have their grubby fingers all over the cigar you're going to smoke. So right. Cellophane, it's and there's the age-old argument, or not argument, but debate, whether you should store your cigars in your humidor with cellophane on or off. It in my experience, it just doesn't really matter. If you want to take the cellophane off your cigars, go ahead. If you want to leave it on, go ahead. If
you want to cut off both ends,
sure.
I've seen people do that.
Yeah. I tend to leave my cigars as they come to my house. So when I buy them at the brick and mortar shop, if I bring them home and they've got cellophane on them, I just leave it there. It's really up to you. I ship a lot of cigars to people, and it protects them when they're in the mail too. Anything that's going to protect those cigars, I say, leave it on.
Yeah.
So Phil, do you have a stance one way or another on?
No, I mean, you age them in the aging room, they're not in cellophane. That's all I got.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in the aging room, they're not.
I tend to don't put them in cellophane. Yeah. I travel with them in cellophane, right? I put them in cellophane when I ship them because for handling reasons. But I mean, in a great cigar box, it'd be better to keep them out of cellophane, but they get damaged. So it's the chance you take.
Yeah.
But aging wise or storage, I don't put them in cellophane. I put them in the humidor.
Yeah.
Like the way they're aging. That's how they are in the cajuelas, right? In the trays. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there are a few cases that I have a few older cigars, some Dominican, some Honduran, some Nicaraguan, that just for experimentation purposes for myself, just because I'm a big tobacco nerd and I want to learn everything I can, I'll take 2 or 3 of them out of the cellophane and age them right alongside 2 or 3 that are still in the cellophane. I probably won't notice a difference, but I might. So, and 3, 5.
Remember, there's 2 types of cellophane. There's petroleum-based and there's wood pulp-based.
Right.
So, but they both breathe. They both transfer in a 24-hour period of time twice. Air goes in, goes out, because they're both porous. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the argument too. What's better for the cigar? The wood pulp-based cellophane or the petroleum-based cellophane? What's more natural? What's more? Who knows?
Yeah.
Cellulose to propylene and yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to get rid of that, it's really
So, guys, that is this week's smokabulary word, brought to you by AJ Fernandez. And now it is time for
Numero de los Muertos. All right, guys. Numero de los Muertos is brought to you by Oveja Negra Brands. They bring you premium smoking experiences forged from tobacco, time, and talent. Comprised of Black Label Trading Company, Blackwork Studio, Dissonant, and Emilio. Oveja Negra Brands provide smokers uncompromising blends renowned for their flavor and lasting impression. Oveja Negra, where art and tobacco collide. Join the flock. Visit ovejanegracigars.com to learn more. All right, Phil, as we explained in the pre-show, I give a number. And this week's number is 200 a year. People die from this in North America.
All right. 200 people. And as always, viewers, leave your guesses in the comments. And no cheating, no Google foo.
And I will say, to kick us off, this is North America.
North America, 200 people a year die from this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a big thing because there's only 200 people.
Yeah, that's not a lot. You emphasized the word north.
I sure did.
And I think there's a clue there. So I'm thinking...
So, John, interesting fact, carbon monoxide was actually one of the very first Número de los Muertos I did. And that is not this week's answer. Josh, bison attacks is also not the answer.
Not the answer, but a great
Great.
guess.
I love it.
I love that guess.
And I'll say it's the closest so far.
Ooh. Okay. Well,
I'd say 200 people died by hitting a deer.
You are getting close.
Moose attack.
I'm going to give it to you. So it's moose.
Nice.
So most of it is accidents caused by hitting a moose. And there's like a handful of people a year that do get trampled by moose. Most of it is Alaska.
Yeah.
Some of it is Maine, and the rare person up in the border between the U.S. and Canada. But most of it is Alaska. Moose, is this?
So that's so just people out, and a moose just.
Yeah. So in on the highways in Alaska, if you're coming around a bend 60 miles an hour and there's a moose, especially if you're in a small vehicle,
Oh, you're done for.
it actually takes the entire top of the car off. And a lot of people do die from...
They're like 2,000, 2,500 pound animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big bulls are massive.
Yeah,
huge.
you just don't... If you've never been by a moose or seen a moose in person, they are an incredible...
So I was close. I got close.
I've seen one in the wild up in northern Minnesota before.
Same.
And a friend of mine and his family moved to Anchorage, Alaska for a year. It was probably about 10 years ago, and they lived there for a year, and they regularly sent videos and pictures of moose in their front yard. They just wander around the neighborhoods.
Yep.
They're as common as squirrels are around here.
And actually, John, it's a holy bull. Usually these are, the big bulls. But I'll take cow.
Yeah,
I
the
guess.
cow
Yeah.
it's the female.
It's the female. So yeah.
So that is and that was a great guess.
Yeah.
So Phil
Yeah.
knocked it out of the park.
He did.
It's rare. It's rare that our special guest gets the right answer before one of the viewers. So well
I kept
done.
thinking bee stings, but there's way too many people died from bee stings.
We did bee stings. It was one of the earlier episodes.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, that is this week's
Número de los Muertos.
I like the background movie. Yeah.
All right, so Phil, some lightning round questions, not cigar related. If you could choose to hear the thoughts of one living person for 10 minutes, who would it be and why?
Jeff Bezos. Find out he got all that money.
That's 2 weeks in a row.
Our guest last week said the same thing, and that's a great answer because you gotta want to get inside the head of somebody who turned a tiny little website into the most profitable
Lucrative thing ever.
Yeah. All right, so Phil, if you were about to get into a fight, what soundtrack music would come on?
John Wick.
I love it.
You are on.
Yeah, you just boom with the answers. I love it. All right, choose one of the following. You could hit a home run as a starting pitcher, You could score a touchdown as a defensive lineman. You could score a hockey goal as the goalie, or you could score a soccer goal as the goalie.
Soccer goal is the goalie.
Yeah, very popular answer.
Coast to coast.
Way rarer than any of them.
Yeah, the most rare.
It is.
By far. All right, so this week's notable smokable. And again, for those of you who are...
Is that all the questions?
What's that?
Is that all the questions?
Yeah, that's all the lightning round, man.
That's all for the lightning round.
That was a lightning round.
You killed it.
I love those things.
So, again, we talk about a cigar that we've enjoyed over the past week that was interesting to us. Could be new to the market, old to the market, just something that caught our interest. For me, this is a cigar that was on our top 10 list last year, and it's the Balmoral Duetto Ovacion, which is the sort of short figurado perfecto, and it's just a beautiful cigar.
Good.
There's a reason it made our top 10 list last year. It's that collaboration between Balmoral and Ernesto Perez Carrillo. So beautiful cigar, one I enjoy as often as I can. And so that was my notable of the week.
I had a I don't know if you've heard, there's a company out of the Dominican, A Fuente something, and
I think I've heard of them.
They have a cigar called the Opus X Destino Siglo.
Oh, yeah, I think I may have heard of that brand before.
Yeah. It was
A little boutique brand.
yeah, super small batch. And I was lucky enough to grab. It was a limit one,
and that's a budget cigar too, isn't it? I think that's low price point.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Bezos budget.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is a special cigar though.
They are.
So Phil, do you get a chance to go outside of your brand much?
I smoke everything and anything.
How about this last week? Does anything stick out that you had and you went, wow?
From our factory that I work with, the Delos Rey.
Yeah, anybody.
Anything, man.
The one that I smoked. They make a brand called Don Julio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I smoked one of their Coronas. Yeah, it was insane.
Nice.
It was impressive.
Yeah.
It was really impressive. It was really impressive. And then I've smoked through every pro cigar. I've gone to all these years. I have all those boxes, and I got short for a minute during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I just puffed tough on all the stuff. I actually smoked. It was. God, wasn't it an Upman or something? It surprised me.
Okay.
I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting that from one of the bigger outfits,
Yeah.
And and the last week was that Don Julio. It was insane.
Okay. John said the Superfly,
That's
which
Superfly.
I agree with that. That Oscar Valladares.
Yes.
That's a good cigar. I really like that one a lot.
Not only do you get the disco music when you pull it out, but it is a great cigar.
Yeah, it is. Very good.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, I like that guy a lot.
He's a good guy. He actually is in the factory when I left UST and went to. That's Honduras Cuban Tobaccos, which ended up, when that all went apart, Oliva was there. Now he got it.
Yeah.
And he's doing a great job.
Yeah. So for our viewers and listeners, we'll give you guys an idea of what we have coming up. We have this is the first of many great shows in October. We're so excited to have a full October roster. Next week on the 13th, we're going to talk to Pete Johnson from Tatuaje. He was on the show pretty much the same week last year in October.
Yeah.
So he's got the new Monster release that he's going to talk about. Then the week after that, on the 20th, we're going to talk to Spencer Drake from La Familia Robina. Then the last week, the last Tuesday in October, We're going to talk to Christopher Moore from Carolina Blue Cigars. We've gotten to know him a little bit over the last few months, and enjoying the chance to have him on the show. And we have more stuff coming up in November, so stay tuned. Stay focused on the YouTube channel and the Facebook channel, the Facebook page rather.
And one more piece of business is we are going to be starting a new game show segment coming up very soon, where you guys will get a chance to win prizes. And we've got a great new partner with us who's going to be giving out cigars and swag to those who win.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for that. Phil, give all our viewers and listeners, where's the best place to get the latest and greatest info on all your brands?
You can go to debonairhouse.com, debonaircigars.com, indianmotorcyclecigars.com, Debonair Phil on Instagram, Indian Cigars Phil on Instagram, just Debonair Cigars on Instagram, anything Debonair Cigars, Indian Motorcycle Cigars, you know. You go right to my website, or you can find me on Facebook, or I mostly use Instagram. I don't use my Facebook. You know, I do have Phil Zanghi on there or whatever, but Debonair Phil on Instagram, and then Indian Cigar Phil on Instagram. And I love talking to people. I always respond and the whole thing. And,
Cat herding Phil on cat herding.
Yeah. Yep. I got 8,000 handles. Yeah, put it that way.
Phil, brother, we had a blast tonight on the show. Thank you so much for being on with us and
you guys are all
talking. I
love this stuff, man.
Thank you.
I love good conversation. It's really, really, really great, man.
Absolutely.
You guys
It's so fun.
Absolutely. We'll have you on again and keep the conversation going.
Whenever you want, man. That game show thing sounds interesting. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm in
all
for
right.
that.
So all our viewers and listeners, as always, if you have any questions, you can send us a message on Facebook. Follow us on social media at HBT Cigar. Send us an email directly on the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. And until we see you next time, burn cigars,
not bridges.
Thanks
guys.
Thank you.